Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to MongoDB TV, our AI show, live again as every week. Welcome everyone on the different streaming platforms that we're broadcasting to. My name is Pavel Dukovny. I'm a lead developer advocate at Mongo. And today we have a great show for you. I was away for a couple of weeks now from streaming, and I'm really excited about this one because I've been planning to do this one. I didn't give anyone else to have the stream today. And today we're going to be building with BuildShip. Not only building with BuildShip, but building with its new tools capability, BuildShip tools, which is a very hot topic around AI and AI agents, giving them the tools that we need. And today we have also Harini Janakiraman, who's the CTO and the co-founder of BuildShip. So I'm really, really thrilled having Harini here. Hi, Harini.
Hey, hi Pavel, how are you?
I'm good. I'm great. So before we start a very exciting show, I just want to let everyone know, please comment where you're joining from, what brings you up for this stream today, and just say hi and ask us questions or anything you have during the show. We'll be happy to answer that by the end of the show. But yeah, let's start the stage by just first asking what is BuildShip and what is this new exciting product that you just launched?
Yeah, super excited to be here. First of all, thanks for having me. BuildShip is a platform on which you can create AI workflows and automate your backend APIs and integrations. But we recently launched BuildShip Tools, which allows you to create the tools that can power your AI agents. So think of it like the MCP ready tools that everybody's talking about to power your Claude agent with meaningful tools that can actually take tasks and do actions for you. So we're going to be building a few of these tools today, and I'm going to be super excited to kind of combine a couple of integrations to showcase the true power of the tools rather than just one-on-one API-based integrations that most tools currently support.
Yeah, so it's a really exciting era that a lot of companies are rising, replacing a lot of their day-to-day work with those automation workflows, and that becomes a necessity. So that's really exciting. And every time I build something with BuildShip or other automation tools, I kind of feel the power that I can create quick and fast and iterate, fail fast, understand what's wrong, fix that, deploy it quickly. Very exciting. And another thing that really resonated with me during the last few days is I saw something. I don't know if it was on TikTok, LinkedIn. I don't remember the platform, but somebody said, MCP and AI agent tooling is very exciting, but the main problem for today is that the tools are very simplistic. That means that a lot of them are just wrappers. So the adoption of MCP was very quick and like very wide, but most of the common adapters are basically a wrapper around an API, for example, like a Notion API, right? So it's like get a page, update a page, update, get a bunch of pages. That's not really powerful if this is the only thing that this thing is doing, because it might stuck the agent like in this continuous loop because it has a very kind of narrow ability to do only the APIs that those MCP allows. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that when I hook my Notion with like just an API wrapper, uh, it might not be that powerful. But what
Yeah.
BuildShip allows me to do is actually integrate a lot of the sources, build a logic that is proprietary for my task, right?
Yeah.
And then this thing becomes really powerful because now my AI agent won't get stuck in a loop with like those simple API wrappers. It will have the exact tool and the exact flow that it needs.
Yeah, exactly. So you hit the nail on the head on this. Basically, like every company is looking to hire AI agents and kind of like augment their team, so customer support, sales, and whatnot. But these agents will be as good as the tools that they have, right? So if the customer support agent only has tools that are one is to one with their CRM tools, it's going to be able to allow them to only kind of update some data or pull some information. Versus if you truly think about like what customer support would typically do, if it's not an AI agent like a human, they do a bunch of things, right? Like they pull data from different places, they get into that context of what that user's problem is, they solve the problem, they kind of do actions that are kind of touching many tools. So MCP makes it really easy for an AI agent to kind of interface with different tools. And the first wave of MCPs that are out there that are available, it's all like one is to one with their different tools as an API. Versus what we actually need is, confirming, hey, this user on Stripe is a paid user, and then go to Mongo and get their usage stats and kind of combine these to give the full context to the customer support. So that's one of the use cases we'll be building today. But as you said, exactly, like you need to be able to have logic ahead of and behind the tools to create like meaningful tools for the agents. And as the agents evolve and the models evolve, you can lift and shift these tools across different agents, depending on whatever is the best kind of model for the job to do, for example.
Yes. And again, if you're gonna connect like, I don't know, 20, 30 tools, I saw it happening, is that the
Yeah,
AI agent's just gonna go lost and just gonna, not have the ability to combine them correctly.
yeah,
While I can quickly build, 3, 4 tools that maybe behind the scenes embed like another 20 tools that might be much more efficient for an AI agent to deal with. Um, and we are going into that era where we'll need to power like, I don't know, 50, 60, 100 tools per
yeah,
agent maybe, and giving it directly to the agent is not always smart. We need to kind of figure out how to segregate things and how to uh, it becomes its own like software engineering problem.
yeah.
How do we expose the tools? Do we expose them directly, or do we build something with very easy frameworks and very kind of friendly frameworks, but expose only the kind of the real endpoint that the AI agent needs, and give
Yeah,
him
exactly.
ability to pass different parameters maybe, or play with the inputs so that it will go in the flows to the correct place, but not allow it to just go running wild across the
Yeah, exactly. You definitely don't want to give it full access to your database, right? Like you don't want to give it full update or delete kind of access. You want to give like specific job-based tasks, kind of tools that can do certain things in a limited fashion. It's almost like putting permissions on your database and giving access to your teammates for only read or write, like some specific tables
Mhm.
or sections. So similar concept, I would say the tools I have also need, right? So yeah, it's a definitely evolving, exciting space, um, and looking forward to building the demos to it.
All right, so maybe we'll jump into that.
Yes, let's do it. So let me share my screen, just really quick. Um, just a second. Let me just actually just share my entire screen. Hope you can see it.
All right, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, BuildShip.tools. This is the new thing we launched. BuildShip website itself, you can go and check out what you can do. But essentially, let's focus on tools today. So here, as you know, every kind of prompt-based platform, you can start asking what you want to build. You also, of course, have a lot of templates that you can explore and start with. But very basic level, if you want to say, hey, given an image, I want to do certain kind of image transformation and get the output, and maybe this is a tool for your agent, something like this. What we do at the back is create the workflow for you. So let me just pick a workspace, um, and what it does is kind of creates this experience where it kind of gives you a design framework for the workflow. So think of it like the backend logic, the API, the tools, all these are visualized in like a workflow format rather than a big code blob thrown at you. So you can understand what the logic is. So given an image, you are generating certain kind of IDs for it and uploading the image to storage, generating the transformed image and the base 64 file and uploading it back and then giving that back. So you can figure out if this workflow works for you or not, and you can adjust it. You can ask the AI to build it for you, and what it actually does is creates a complete flow filled with logic and inputable fields, so that then you can actually play around and test with it. So within a few minutes, you see that workflow getting created. Then it actually maps the input values to each of these blocks of nodes, and then finally you're ready to test. But as I said, like, this is a platform which is with code access, so you can actually look at the code of every individual thing, what's happening. You can make changes at code level or with AI. So yeah, as you can see, like, while we were talking, the whole thing is ready. Now let me give it a
One
test.
prompt, right? It was one prompt.
Yeah, it is one prompt. So this one is coming in from BuildShip, one of our templates itself. But you can try different things. Like you can say, given an image, or like given an email of someone, I want to use Perplexity to figure out where this person works. So you can use different models. We have like keyless experience, so you can actually don't need to add the OpenAI key, for example. But of course, you can use the credits or bring your own key as well. So easy way for you to not have 10 different APIs from 10 different AI providers, but try it out before you actually then decide, okay, this model works for me. So here I could, some sample, let me actually close this and test the workflow. So yeah, as you can see here, it's applying the test prompt. Let me refresh this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here actually I already ran it, but basically what it does is takes an image, takes a logo, applies a texture to a logo, and comes back with this. So this is just a very high level overview of what BuildShip tools does. And then you can take these tools to any kind of agent and apply it there. So anytime you upload an image in that agent, it kind of applies this texture and generalizes it for you. But more interestingly, today we're gonna build a use case where you want to say you're building a customer support agent, and your customer support agent is using desktop app of Claude, for example. And this is kind of like an internal tool kind of use case where they can ask, hey, tell me about the customer, this, right? So what it does is here at the back, it's using the tool. It's a combination tool of Stripe and MongoDB, where it's fetching information from Stripe of whether this person is a paid user or not, in which tier, and from MongoDB to see what their usage is, how many hours they're using. So you kind of pull up some information about them. Hey, this person is using the startup plan. They've used this many hours. This is some of their information from the database. So if I go back to the MongoDB database, here is the information about the person, and this is coming in from Stripe as well. So this is the internal tool use case that we are going to be building today from scratch. So this can be applied for a sales agent in your organization, or like a customer support agent, or it can be expanded further to any kind of internal tool use case you might have. Obviously, these can be also exposed externally if you want building more kind of app-based APIs or app-based agentic experiences and things like that. But we're going to focus on this specific use case today. Yeah. So let's dive in. So we have actually a template for this. You can start from here, or it's always nice to start from scratch. Sometimes you understand the whole logic explanation of what's happening. So let's start from scratch. Let me go ahead and create a workflow. So let me do that. Let's give it some name. So let me just call it Stripe Mongo and create it. So you could use AI, build with AI to kind of step-by-step build it for you. But for the purpose of this demo, let's just start from scratch, right? Like, so let's say your input for your tool is basically email.
One thing, Harini, is maybe you can just increase your zoom on the screen by like another one. I think 125 will be great. Yeah, thanks.
All right, cool. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm just adding, so you can think of a workflow or like a tool starts from inputs that your agent supplies or your app supplies, and then the output, which is a deterministic workflow kind of experience that the tool does and comes up with some output, right? So here we have email, and we want to find this email in our Stripe and MongoDB and collate that information about that person and give it back, right? So let me do this in parallel. So on BuildShip, we have tons of nodes, common programmatic nodes like parallel, loop, and things like that, and most common integrations. So let me do parallel. And then let me do Stripe on one side. So get customer information, and then Mongo on the other side. So query collection, right? So yeah, these are the two information. And for this, the customer, the Mongo's part, I'm just gonna like copy the database and collection that we have here. For example, we have the demo collection. So let me actually zoom this out. Close that in. Okay. So as you can see, like similar as I just said, we have a parallel node, we have Mongo and Stripe. Here I have demo collection name, and the query that we are doing is basically like matching by email. So the incoming customer email from the input. So this email that we just have, we pass it to the query collection and match for that. And on the Stripe side, we have the customer email just matching directly and getting the customer information. Now, you can see that I've already added the MongoDB key. So all you need to do is just add your own key here. So you need to add that full URL like this, and it'll get stored securely in the secret manager on the backend. So that's one thing. Same for Stripe, you'll be adding your own Stripe API key. I've already added one here. So, and then now that we have both these information, you can also, by the way, test individual nodes to make sure it's working before you proceed the rest of the flow. So here, for example, if I want to just test the MongoDB part of it, the same example I have added here, let me just test it to make sure this node is working. And you can, double check if this data, first of all, exists on the database. So I have it here.
Yeah, maybe you can show the users how you got the connection string. So it's basically going to the MongoDB one and going to clusters on the left side.
Yes,
so open a tab, or we can always go back to the to the browser. Yeah, and as soon as we load the clusters.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I think it's like back to clusters. Okay.
Yeah, back to clusters. And there's a connect button, so it's like it should be easy to locate.
Let me just refresh.
Refresh. Yeah. Sometimes, I think you've logged out.
Let me just log back in quickly.
That's one.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened here. Let me just fill up this really quick.
Maybe you choose the wrong email to connect to.
No, I think I selected the right one. Let me just fill this up to finish it off. Okay. Yeah, it's here. So I think what happened here is like I just click connect, and then it shows the drivers, right?
Yes.
And then
you go. Yeah, Node.js is a good driver. Yeah. We can take the connection string from here, make sure that we populate it with the correct password.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I took this whole thing and replace obviously the password with your own password that you use when you're creating the database cluster, and then you are effectively pasting that here when you're adding the key. So you click add key and you paste that whole thing. So I've already added that and picked this up. So as you can see, the data is coming back here, and it says the information that's actually available directly on your so if I browse the collections and go back to that collection.
Yeah, it's a brand new UI we released, I think, in the last 2 or 3
I'm
days.
exploring it today. It's pretty good. So let me look at this one. So yeah, as you can see here, the email, this information of 6 hours usage is here. So yeah, that's kind of like testing an individual node. But as I said, like you can actually look at the code of every node. Here it's using the MongoDB client, the JavaScript one.
Yeah.
So
And I think there was a question. What is the language that you can export to or you can edit with? So I think it's TypeScript.
yeah, so you can export it. So you can actually export individual. So obviously you can access the code of every node, but actually you can also export the whole workflow that you have built as a function, and you can self-host as well if you want. So you
Hmm.
can one-click host on BuildShip. It comes with like hosted experience, but you can also now export the entire workflow logic and take it anywhere you want. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, as you can see, so we tested this one node, but let's test the entire workflow also to make sure it's working. So I selected the flow. Let's test this, and you can see that the output I have created like a custom output where I have just put the information from the subscribers' information from MongoDB, sorry Stripe, and then also the usage from MongoDB as well. So I've just put these two information and that comes back as an output. So you can customize the output any way you want. You can add as many fields as you like. You can maybe have like an OpenAI node in between, kind of summarizing, for example, making it in a readable text format. So you can do whatever you would like. So that's kind of the workflow itself. Now, but coming to the more interesting part of how do you use it in your Claude as an MCP, right? Like so here we have a tool trigger. You can add as many tool triggers as you want. We have like email trigger, API, and so on. But the tool trigger, we have the new one that we added, which allows you to set up, for example, an MCP server. So let me ship this changes first, and then I can use this as an MCP server. And all that I need to do is take this hosted. If you want to do hosted, you can basically take this. But if you want to export for self-hosting, you can use this, right? So let me copy that over and paste it here. And what this does is it installs this new tool that you have created into your Claude desktop app. It restarts it also for you. And so you can see then here on the list of tools, the Stripe MongoDB one show up. So now the initial one we just tried, right? Like the customer, let me grab the customer's name. Maybe let's try this person now. Customer this, and then it gives you information about that person. So let's see. Yeah, so as you can see, it's making use of that tool that we created. It comes back with the response and formats this for you. So this is
Now we have only the two fields that we've specifically returned. And we can
exactly.
extend it to like wild beyond your dreams, right? You
Yeah.
can do a lot of things.
Yeah, so here we have just the information from Stripe and Mongo, but we imagine you can collect a bunch of other information, maybe the information you extracted from multiple tables to kind of, collections to make it useful. You can do all sorts of things like that. So it's not just
Yeah.
one is to one mapping here. And what's more interesting is you can actually get this information and also send back information. So if you can actually go back to a workflow, you can actually look at the logs. Let me, no, this is the one I was working on. So let me go back to the build. So yeah, as you can see the logs as well to see every individual execution that has taken place. And then you can make adjustments, ship this again, and then immediately that will be working for you. So yeah, so within like a couple of minutes, we have built a complete tool. And as we discussing in the beginning, the interesting part about a tool is not that it just fetches information from a database, right? It's all the things that can be done before and after. So here in this workflow now, you can double check. Maybe you want to check if that person is a paid user before you provide customer support. So maybe right away you check with Stripe, check the plan here. If they are like an enterprise user, business or pro user, you can put them into a category of like high critical prioritized queue, for example, and then fetch their information and alert somebody else on Slack, for example. Or if it's more like a free tier user, you send them to information about community or like AI generated answers to kind of guide them while you are dealing with priority queue. So you can do all these kind of logical flow that makes sense for your business, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the flexibility aspect of here.
Yeah.
If you
And
want, like, yeah,
I just thought that you can actually track the usage as well as part of the process if you want to ingest a record to some other collection in
yeah,
Mongo. To say that was the snapshot at 2 p.m. When person or somebody queried that data, and you can actually then build upon that data to do like analysis of the
yeah,
activity, uh, get to conclusions, power your AI agents with that data. Maybe there's another agent that only feeds from like one bit of the process that we're going through here. So that's really neat.
yeah. I think that exactly. So you can do like, you can write to the some other analytics collection, or you can also trigger another workflow from this workflow. So you can also have like this agent handing off stuff to, like, say, a manager agent, for example, to prioritize for it. Things like that can be done. And then another use case that you can have multiple tools as well, right? So for example, if you want to update your customer, say for example you're on a call now with the customer solving some problem, or you are getting some information and you're on a sales call, you want to add some notes from the meeting. You can basically use the same Claude experience where you can say, here's the email, here's the notes. You can just type some information, rough notes while you're talking to the person, along with like a recording snippet. And then this workflow, for example, we built kind of uses OpenAI to summarize it, make it nicely structured, and then put that information in your database. So you can get the information about that email, the document ID, and update the document with the data that you have, which is the um, text generated by OpenAI, which is the notes for the tool. So, for example, I can say this email, right? For example, notes for David, and saying works as software engineer at MongoDB, for example, right? Let's just say that. So here, this data doesn't have all of that right now. But what's going to do is use that tool to update that data. So sometimes the first time it's using the tool, it takes a little bit of time, but when it does, so we already have added this tool. So update MongoDB tool. Let's see. And yeah, so finally it's picked up the tool. So now it's going to, so I've just added like rough notes like this, but
And it's
because,
again, I
yeah,
think it's again that like as more tools you'll have
yeah,
placed there, sometimes the more you're gonna wait until it's gonna pick the right tool, and hopefully it's gonna pick the right tool. So that's
yeah,
why obfuscating, I don't know if obfuscating, but I think capsule, like stitching or whatever term you want to use,
yeah,
multiple processes that can work without the AI or even when like a smaller model
yeah,
intervenes. That's that's better. So we can actually plan, use the AI agent nodes inside the BuildShip workflow and use something like, I don't know, Jiminy Flash, right? Which
yeah,
is significantly less expensive than using like Claude Sonnet 4 or Opus 4.
yeah,
So our main agent is obviously the smart one. It picks what to do and when to do it. But for some of the subtasks, we can actually, offload it to lower tier modules, and
yeah,
it's directly integrated into the tool. So that's really interesting, where you can build flows that uses other AI tools, not Claude,
yeah,
to help Claude do better work.
yeah. I think some of the tools can also be like background tools, so you can take it off. Maybe you have like one startup tool, and then it kind of does a bunch of things. So maybe like just to close this off, we updated this data, and now going back here, let me just need to refresh, and it should hopefully bring that back. So yeah, as you can see, comment has been added about that person. Yeah, and I think what's more interesting is like, you can trigger your tool in many different ways. the chat-based agent experience is one way, but most commonly, if you are building like apps or like agents that are running kind of automatically, autonomously, we need deterministic tools as well to so that they can take the job in a proper manner. So you can say, hey, I uploaded this YouTube video, for example, and your tool can be something like it takes that, extracts the transcript, creates a blog, uploads it to your CRM, kind of the to the front end blog platform that you might be having. It might be able to even create like short videos. Maybe it's using the some of the latest video generated tools to clip that YouTube video to smaller clips and post to different social platforms. So all these can be triggered off at the background, and your front end or the agent chat experience need not wait for these things. So that's the kind of another experience that we are seeing people are taking up with tools.
Yeah, well, you're keeping us waiting. Like, did it update the database?
Yeah, I did. I showed it to you. Like
Oh,
here it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Sorry, I was not hovering on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All
yeah.
right,
So it,
that's really cool. I mean, eventually, it feels like a lot of the things that we do will go from clicks to conversation, talks. Um,
yeah.
and there's a question here coming back and forth in the chats
Yeah.
about like other frameworks like Na10 and
Yeah.
LangChain, and whether you're a companion, a competitor, similar product. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could compare a lot with Init and Zapier and things like that. So what we are saying is like we are building like a scalable back-end focused workflow here, rather than just focus purely on automation or like one of the kind of experiences there. So essentially, what we are doing is giving you fully flexible access where you can create individual nodes. So the nodes in the library are, obviously we have pre-created nodes, but you can actually create individual nodes yourself from scratch or with AI. Every node's code is accessible. You can make changes and make these nodes yourself. So you don't need to wait on an integration or something for us to create. So you can start building with AI and say, now create a node for using this API. Here is a sample code snippet. Now create a node for me. So it goes ahead and does it for you. You can test that individual node, make sure it's working, and use it in your workflows, save it in your library. And then the entire workflows core also can be exported. So that way we are slightly different from other players out there in the sense that this is geared towards visualizing the code and making it accessible. You can also obviously collaborate with your team. So you can have your team members building a flow, but you can have just an engineer building one node specifically. So you can connect to any kind of technical products out there or integrations you might have.
yeah, and I think it's sometimes the same in the database space as well. There's like place for a lot of players. Uh, some platform can do one thing very good, and then it doesn't work for me in another place. So I think there's people have now the freedom to choose how they operate their different services. And I think the more we go into the future, the more of those workflows we're going to see. And a lot of people are going to, maybe stop using some of the proprietary software that they've been paying for
Yeah,
decades now, and just going to build something that is truly good for them. Not going
exactly.
to some product manager at some place, decide how I should, you know, treat my sales workflow or do my marketing. Uh, and I think that's you can do something with N8N, you can do it with BuildShip, you can connect the two.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can
I think
start
so we have
one
users connecting.
yeah.
Yeah. I think what you said is exactly the point, right? Like we don't want like a black box experience or a rigid experience anymore. Everybody has the power to be a developer with AI. What we are saying is like, you don't need to use the exact MongoDB data, nodes that we have because sometimes it can feel rigid, right? Like you don't want to do just query collection because of certain kind of, things you might have. So you can start from this, but then you can make this node yourself or change it up or update it to your specific logic. So here I can go and look at the code, or change the inputs that I have or the output that it generates. So you can have like that full custom experience, and that's where the world is headed, right? Like everybody can spin up their own tools or like internal tools. For example, there's no more rigid drag and drop front end builder. Same for the back end as well. There's no rigid kind of use this node exactly from the library as it is. Like everybody can change and make things themselves.
Yeah. And I actually saw now that you have like the vector search nodes and the hybrid search nodes
Yeah,
for MongoDB. Um, so those
yeah,
excite me because I know how powerful they are. So
yeah,
the semantic search is basically using. So this one is a full text search, the one that you
yeah.
loaded. Uh, we have too many searches.
Yeah. So we
So
have like hybrid search with the combination, but yeah, this is basically like very easy way for you to use semantic search on MongoDB, with just like you can have one of the triggers be API trigger, so you get an endpoint directly to start using in your front end apps, which does semantic search on your data. So that's kind of exciting, where you can have like a plug and play experience to
yeah,
start using. And we have
yeah,
actually templates for this as well. So if someone is look curious, you can go and explore. So we have like lots of templates in our templates gallery here.
yeah. And I think there's a bunch of blogs as well and
Yeah,
tutorials in your documentation. Um, so I'm gonna hit the banner again. So go to BuildShip website or BuildShip.tools and start your journey from there. And
yeah.
you can find a lot of materials. Um, and obviously there's a question like how can you export a node? So is it just by having uh the trigger, or you can actually move the node around from one workflow to another?
Yeah, so you can move a workflow node. So you can copy a node and paste it in another workflow. You can even like copy a bunch of nodes together and move them around. Um,
Yeah.
the individual nodes code is here. So if you want to take it out and put it somewhere else, you can also do that outside of BuildShip ecosystem. But within BuildShip, you can just easily copy and paste nodes from one
Mhm.
place to another. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how you do it. You can
So
also
you,
like
so you can edit it, make your proprietary node with your own logic, and then just copy and paste it in different workflows that easy.
exactly. You can also like save it to your team library so that it's all, you can access it from this section. So the team library section.
Yeah. And if I'm really enthusiastic, I can make a remix link and just share it with the public, right? So I can
Yeah. You
basically
can also
share
like,
the
yeah,
knowledge that I've gained while using the platform.
yeah. So you can share, very easy to share a workflow, that you're happy to share with others using a remix link. You can publish in the community as well. So you are, if you are a creator, you want to share it with others, your profile gets linked there. Different ways to share, making it super easy and not like a locked in kind of feeling, right? That's what
Yeah.
we want to use when we use the different tools ourselves. So
Yeah, and I can think a bunch of a bunch of today's platforms that allow you to build software. I mean, front end wise, that can like instantly hook up into one of those MongoDB and BuildShip workflows. So you just open a cluster. It can be a free cluster, or
yeah.
it can be a low tier cluster on MongoDB. You immediately start to work with it because it's really easy. Just connect it through the connection string, and you have like how many nodes did I count? Like over
Yeah, like we have hundreds, and I think we also
for
have this
Mongo.
MongoDB. Yeah, we
Mongo, I
also
think,
have,
have like almost 10 nodes.
yeah, we are almost 10 nodes. We also have a MongoDB trigger that I would like to highlight. But basically, what this one does is you can connect to your database and effectively start using it to say, hey, every time some data changes, then trigger a workflow. So this is also useful if you want to build logic on top of your Mongo data. The starting point can be your database itself. So it need not be a tool or an API, but anytime a data in this collection changes, you want to trigger something, we can do
Oh,
that.
so we can create like a notification,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
notification collection.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So we have like a video and a tutorial, everything here. So you copy this webhook URL as a trigger endpoint URL and paste it into your MongoDB. And once you do, anytime that change happens, it kind of triggers this workflow.
Hmm. Interesting. Right. So we can now build notifications. So if somebody build a summary and we want another app to know there's a summary about this conversation that you can now, oh, we get a lead, right? We started from a support case and we
Yeah.
realized, hey, we can upsell now. So we can trigger a notification to the sales team uh, just by the fact that the data was, changed.
Exactly. So we can say that, okay, now that this customer information is available, now, trigger a notification on Slack by using this directly, or some other kind of means. So I think it's also useful for data population, right? Like maybe sometimes you upload certain data to your database, you don't have all the information. Some data you need to fetch from external sources and fill it up. So if you are like having a information about the person here working in MongoDB and you want to fill a bunch of other columns like what does this company do, or like this person's LinkedIn
Yeah.
URL, you can have like other flows that are populating the database automatically. So you can think of like a database that's populating itself.
Yeah. And the power of Mongo here is really that, the schema flexibility.
Yeah.
So it allows you to store the vector. So let's say we want to start using a vector search, right? We just add to already existing documents, we add the vector array, we index it with a vector index, and that's it. It's ready to go. So, the other flows will completely, work without it, but now we can add upon the documents and build new workflows. So that's really easy for MongoDB. And that's why, building with modern tools like BuildShip is so easy with Mongo because MongoDB is also a modern database. So,
Yeah, exactly. I think, and the not having the rigidity in the structure is pretty useful, especially like as you kind of start building most of these apps, you don't know the structure, you kind of start adding data as you go. So I think I really enjoyed that. And we have lots of nodes with Mongo. I don't believe others have this many integrations with
yeah.
MongoDB. So that's another reason you should try on BuildShip, I would say. Yeah.
And I believe you are running on Atlas, like the entire platform is running on Atlas, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are running here. We are also on, via GCP, we're using MongoDB. So we have like a lot of interesting things happening here. That's why we are able to have like powerful kind of triggers and things like that. We also, by the way, use BuildShip for our own backend. So BuildShip is built on BuildShip, so it's very scalable in that sense.
The inception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, well, that's common, and I think like as we in Mongo, there's no other databases in Mongo.
Yeah.
Most of our infrastructure are built on top of Mongo. So when a product is good, you start using it yourself, and that's I think the most reassuring thing that you would say, hey, I'm building something powerful and something meaningful here.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So you have to be the model customer for the customers.
yeah. And what other ways, except from the MCP that we saw, if you can bring back the this page of how I can work with this workflow through
Yeah.
other endpoints?
Yeah. So you can connect it to kind of like say the REST API call. That's kind of the base use case, right? Like you can instantly get like a API. And what we found interesting is like a lot of people are vibe coding, front end apps with like say Lovable, Bolt, V0 and whatnot. So you can actually create a workflow that fetches say data from some MongoDB and showcases in your app, for example. So
Yeah.
you have this instant API URL that you can start using in your front end application.
Mhm.
You don't want to put your backend logic in your front end, right? And
Yeah.
then let me actually try
Yeah,
to go back.
or even if I'm vibe coding, yeah, a backend, sometimes uh, I just don't want to expose some of the things to my vibe coding agent or whatnot. So I can build
Exactly.
it on the side and just give it a URL and tell you, hey, this is the way you use it. Here's the description. And I think
Yeah.
it's really neat that you get the specific prompt, so it does everything
Yeah.
for you. It prepares the prompt
Exactly.
to
So
go
we have
give.
the endpoint URL, but you don't even need to, do that instruction. So you get like an AI handoff code that can be pasted in any kind of vibe coding tools out there. So you can just copy this and paste it. It gives you how to use that kind of instructions.
Yeah. I hope we won't, like, we don't excuse our laziness by saying, hey, we're more efficient. So that's why we need the prompt being prepared for us.
Yeah, I think it's it's becoming more and more expected where the brain is switching off and everything is prompted. But but it's good to spin up apps so quickly that this is one way to do it. Other ways to do it is like every time email comes to your inbox in Gmail, for example, um, you can say like trigger Google, Gmail trigger, or like Notion and so on. Yeah, we have lots of triggers as starting point, but the interesting thing is, again, you can actually create your own triggers in our big plans, but basically you can also edit the triggers, create your own triggers. We have customers who have created triggers from some random APIs that connects to some things that are not possible in other tools. With BuildShip, you can create your own trigger, create your own nodes, create your own kind of entire experience. So yeah,
Yeah,
essentially
and
you can things.
I brought up maybe a bit like a bit of a old-fashioned link, but it's our integration page on BuildShip.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried it, I really recommend it. And also, if you haven't tried MongoDB or Atlas yet, so you need to do it, and you need to go to mongodb.com/try. It's really like a 5-minute setup, and you're ready to go with your cluster. Ready. So that was really fascinating, Harini. I think we got a lot of great comments, and hopefully people can enjoy the recording as well. I know there's going to be some content dropping
Yeah. So
next.
based on this video, we're gonna use our YouTube to blog generator tool to create a blog and drop that right away within the next day. So I'll share that. Maybe you can add it as a link in the video description or
Yeah.
something like that, so people can use it.
Yes. Wow. I would have picked my words more carefully if I knew that I'm going to
No,
be
AI
monitored.
is gonna it's gonna make it look more professional. It's gonna take away all the fluff around all our chit chats.
All right. So thanks again, Harini, and thanks everyone who joined us. And we're really excited. Please share with us if you build something exciting. Post on LinkedIn, on social media, and yeah, we'll be happy to connect with you all.
Yeah,
Thanks again
awesome.
for staying so late with us today. It's morning time for some of the folks in the US, but I'm based in Europe. It's getting towards the end of my day, so
Great. Thank
yeah,
you. Thanks. I appreciate it. I think I really enjoyed this session. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of tools others are building as well.
sure. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks everyone. Until next time, I was Pavel, and this is Harini from BuildShip. We had a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.